Hello, in this video we're going to talk about Commodus. A couple of months back we did a video on his father, Marcus Aurelius. Now Marcus Aurelius was a genius, he was a philosopher, he was a general, and he cared for his people. And Commodus, his son, was exactly the opposite. He was a failure, he was a tyrant, he was a homosexual, he was a useless politician, he was a tyrant, he was a murderer. And we're going to briefly describe the 13-year rule. Actually, we don't have enough sources about his life. Most of them are restricted to Cassius Dio, the Historia Augusta, and a few other minor sources. Herodian. Alright, so he became emperor aged 19 in 180 AD, when his father Marcus Aurelius died in what is today Vienna. Some say that Marcus Aurelius was actually poisoned by Commodus and his friends. So the first thing, actually when Marcus Aurelius died, it seems that Claudius Albinus and a few other commanders finished the war against the Marcomanni, the Quali, the Buri and other German tribes in what is today Czechoslovakia, Austria. We must not forget that Marcus Aurelius spent most of his life fighting on the northern frontiers against the German tribes, the Scythian tribes, the Dacians and other coalitions of tribes. And so when Commodus came to power, there may have been a few minor battles, mopping up operations, let's call them, but soon afterwards, a couple of months later on, Commodus, he withdrew, he made a truce, he agreed to the terms of his enemy, and he retired. So what he did was he betrayed his father, he prevented the Roman state, empire, from creating a province in what is today Czechoslovakia, Austria, and he sold it out. Thousands of people died in vain, and we see something similar to that happened when Prince Germanicus attacked Germany. He defeated them, and he was ordered by Tiberius, his envious uncle, to retire out of spite. Now, Commodus probably did it out of foolishness, and then what he did was he made a sort of phony triumph. No one was fooled by that. With his boyfriend, Sauderos. Sauderos was a Bithynian homosexual guy, and they actually kissed on the chariot when they did that false triumph. So the empire was ridiculed by what he did, by what Commodus did, by retreating from Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic, and Austria. Right. So saving face did not fool anyone. Now, in 1982, in 182, the second year, his brother-in-law Claudius Pompeius, along with his sister Lucilla, formed a conspiracy against Commodus. It failed, and they were all executed. And then, Claudius Pompeius was killed, and his sister Lucilla was taken to the island of Capri, and she was later executed as well. In the same year, the Romans defeated the Dacians in a minor campaign. 183, several Roman prefects were envious of Commodus' boyfriend Sauderos, and they killed him, they executed him, they murdered him. And in retaliation, Commodus killed several of his commanders. And he soon created a new sort of region, a new boyfriend called Galeanos, a Greek guy. And he was even worse than Sauderos. Now Cleander, they had sort of orgies together. He stole money, he stole public money, and he would soon cause a near famine by his robbing of the public sector and they would both do orgies, and they would have sex with boyfriends and concubines. There was a really corrupt court. And you see, Commodus, he did not believe in the Republican and Stoic ideas of his father, Marcus Aurelius. He wanted a sort of Oriental court. He believed that he was the Shah of Persia, of Parthia, of Persia. Because it was the sort of Parthians at the time. The Iranian, the Persians were still subjects to the Parthians. Right, and soon after that, in 184, Claudius Albinus and Pescennius Neger, the two future emperors, they defeated the Sarmatians in Dacia in another minor campaign. In the same year, the other future emperor, Helvius Pertinax, defeated Berber rebels, the Moors, in another minor campaign. We don't really know much about these campaigns. And a certain commander called Ulpius Marcellus defeated the Picts and the Celts in in Scotland and England, and northern England. So in 185, there was a rebellion in Britain. The Roman troops in Britain tried to crown a new emperor because they were all fed up of the tyrant Commodus. But the person who they tried to crown emperor, he did not want the post, and Helvius Pertinax was sent there to quell the revolt, and he was wounded, and he was nearly thought to be dead. And then a certain Perennis, he plotted against Commodus to become an emperor, and he was apprehended and executed, just like Claudius Pompeius was a couple of years back. And in 186, a certain Maternus, a retired commander, he gathered all these bandits and they robbed parts of Italy, parts of Gaul, but they were finally defeated by the imperial troops. Probably in the same year or somewhere around there. Alright, and then there were a couple of peaceful years, and in 189, things came to the worst, and Gleanos, this Greek guy, the Greek regent, he stole all this money, he began to have sex with people, with commanders' wives, he abused the people, and he caused a near famine. And the people rose against Cleander. They demanded that Commodus should execute him. And he was a sort of mafia guy. And Commodus actually, he agreed to have him executed. I mean, he was in fear of his own life. So he acknowledged the wish of the people, and he had Cleander and his son killed. And at the same time, Commodus, for some reason or other, murdered the Syrian prince Julius Alexander of Emesa. Now in Emesa, Homs, which is modern Homs in Syria, there was this royal priestly family, and from that family came Julia Domna, who would marry Septimus Severus, who would become emperor in a couple of years after that. So by killing Julius Alexander, one of Domna's relatives, that means that Commodus made a powerful enemy, Septimus Severus, the big commander, the military genius. And of course, Commodus did not know that at the time. And there was a plague around this time, 189 AD, with several people dead. And then there were a couple of peaceful years after that. And Commodus began one of his new purges. And he planned to execute, he executed a few nobles, and then he planned to execute the consuls of the year, Erucius Clarus, Sosius Falco, and prefects, Commander Letos and Eclectus, who would later become commanders of Septimus Severus. And he also wanted to execute Letus's wife Marcia. And what happened was that Letus and Marcia, they got wind of what Commodus was planning to do. They tried to poison Commodus, and they failed to do so. The poison did not have that effect. or the effect that they wanted to, and they sent this huge athlete called Narcissus. And Narcissus fought with Commodus, and he murdered him. And we see that happening a few years back. Do you remember how Domitian died? It was the same story again. He was trying to kill some nobles, and the nobles sent an athlete called Stephanos, and he killed Domitian in his room. So the same thing happened with this Narcissus guy. This big athlete, he actually grappled, fought, and killed Commodus. Now Commodus was only about 31 or 32 years old, and he reigned for like 13 years. It seems that Helvius Pertinax was aware of the plot, but he did not reveal anything. I mean, the future emperor, Helvius Pertinax. And several people who were fed up of Commodus the tyrant, of Commodus the madman, they wanted to get his body, and they wanted to dump it in the Tiber River. It was Helvius Pertinax who demanded that Commodus would be given a proper burial. Now Julian the Apostate, so-called Apostate, the emperor, in one of his books, The Caesars, believes that Pertinax was actually involved in the plot. Now during this period there was a minor persecution of Christians. There were several martyrs of Christendom. So Commodus was gay, he was sexual, and he also liked to have sex with ladies. So there's a story in the Historia of Gusta that he went up to this the commander of the Rhine troops, Salvius Julianus, and he tried to have sex with him, but Salvius Julianus refused to do so. Commodus is also known to dress up as he dressed up as Hercules. He held a club, and he had the lion hood on him. He looked like, and he actually commissioned some statues of him to be a sort of Hercules. And there's a story when Cassius Dio at the time, the Greek historian, he was part of the Senate at the time, and he relates the story where Commodus went into the Senate and he killed an ostrich, and he held the head like that, and he was threatening the rest of the senators. Commodus was hated by the Senate and finally by the people due to his evil reasons. It is said that some people already knew he was a tyrant, he was a ruthless tyrant. He asked Marcus Aurelius to get rid of Commodus, and Marcus Aurelius of course refused to do so because he was a stoic, he was a philosopher, and his other sons had died out of the plague, and the only remaining son was Commodus, the useless boy, the tyrant. So Commodus had no sense of democracy. He did not believe in the Republic. He did not have the views of his father, Marcus Aurelius. He was nothing like Trajan, he was nothing like Hadrian, he was nothing like Antoninus, he was nothing like, actually Lucius Verus was a bit of a cruel guy. So he sort of ruined the pattern of the 5 good emperors, starting from Nerva. Nerva was a good emperor too. He was a man. He abused his power, and also Hollywood produced 2 stupid movies about Commodus, and none of them are actually. In the recent film Gladiator, it suggests that Commodus died during the games in honor of. So the film suggests that Commodus died only after a few months' reign. That's not true. Commodus ruled for like 4 years. So why waste all that money for what? For nothing. And then they did the old film with all the good actors, with Omar Sharif and all these good actors. Again, the movie was really stupid and had no sense in it. So after Commodus was murdered by Narcissus, the Senate approved that the famous commander, Helvius Pertinax, would be appointed emperor. So we see that everyone hated Commodus.
This is a bust of Commodus in Vienna, and this is a bust of Commodus in Rome, with him dressed up as Hercules. Commodus was fascinated with Hercules.